Thank you for your patience, everyone. Go pick up the children, as I often do. And now I'm letting them rot their brain with the screen while I bring you the metagame going into Final Fantasy releases tomorrow on Arena. So, this is the snapshot of what we've got going into that. We'll break it down. We'll go into some other formats in addition to Standard. We'll look at what's going on MTG Goldfish, which is more what's going on MTG Online and in paper. And then, but first, I want to talk. And then we're going to talk about some deck lists for decks using the new Final Fantasy cards. And hopefully it's working. I put a link in the description. Yo Man 5 did an awesome Blue Sky thread with 50 different deck lists that make use of the new Final Fantasy cards. So we got that. Well, I just wanted to tell you first about my experience with Final Fantasy this weekend at the pre-release. Didn't even unsleeve this. This was my stamped promo. Ninja's Blades. And I did get a like $75 anime Terra, which I can't show you because I traded it to somebody for a pile of cards, including Buster Sword. But here's a foil jumbo Cactuar. This is one of the cards I was excited about in this set. And we'll look at one of Yo Man's deck lists with the Cactuar. It is a 1/7 7-mana plant with the 10,000 needle ability. Whenever it attacks, it gets 9,000. It gets plus 9,999 plus 0 until end of turn. So it becomes a 10,007 thing. So can you give it trample? Can you fling it? There should be some way to make it good, right? Is it jank or is it actually competitive? Well, we'll talk about that. All right, but metagame. It's the main reason I do these metagame live streams on Monday, every Monday. Been keeping it up so far. I pay for the untap.gg data, so you don't have to. And this week, Azorius Omniscience in Standard has claimed the #1 in the win rate spot at #3 in terms of popularity. Unsurprisingly, behind Mono Red Aggro and Is It Prowess, actually very close to Mono Red Aggro. It's usually far and away the most popular, as you can see here. But Is It Prowess has eclipsed it a couple times recently. So there's aggro growing in popularity. I think it's going to be a slam dunk to play when the new cards come out and everybody's testing new brews, and they're not very good yet. Mono Red's just gonna eat him up. Is It Prowess probably gonna eat him up? Although that looks like it's having a little downtrend dip going on. And Azorius Omniscience, despite winning, despite being the winningest deck by percentage, is going down. Mono Black mid range going down, but Yo Man has a Demons deck that looks like it could be interesting. Maybe Mono Black mid range will get a shot in the arm from Final Fantasy. Or I guess Mono Black Demons, actually. There it is. It's a separate one. So the Mono Black Demons deck could get a shot in the arm. And here's the win rate. As you can see, when Tarkir released, Mono Red had the highest win rate. Although Azorius Omniscience was doing pretty well too. So it might not be bad to stick with going into tomorrow with the new set. Azorius Omniscience, great win rate. Starts to get eclipsed by Mono Red a little bit. Has another peak here. Mono Red comes back. Has another peak here. Mono Red comes back, and it's peaking again. Just been trading off in terms of what's the most winning deck. There's actually quite a bit of variation in the Azorius Omniscience decks. Let's make sure I'm broadcasting this correctly. You guys are all getting sound. Yeah, okay. So this is one that has played 300 matches, has a 60.7% win rate, and it's using still Invasion of Arcavios, although just one of those, and then some Overlord of the Flood Pits and Roiling Dragonstorm with 2 Meringue River Regents. So that's this version. Just 2 Philology Archaeologists, 3 Scroll Shifts, 3 Forest Dispersals, stock up, some temporary lockdowns, and of course 4 Abuelos, 4 Omniscience. Whereas this one, which has played a mere 110 matches, has a 70.5% win rate. And this is more like the old Arcavios build, right? It's got 3 Invasion of Arcavios, 4 Philology Archaeologist, 4 Chart of Course, a Moment of Truths, Confounding Riddle. It does have 3 temporary lockdowns instead of 4. So I don't know. There still seems to be a wide range of Omniscience decks. And just skipping the Meringue, River Regent, and Roiling Dragonstorm package might actually, based on this data, be the better way to play it. I don't know. You let me know in the comments. Oh, wait, we're not going to skip to Goldfish yet. Let's go back here. Let's see standard best of 3 data. Okay, Selesnya Control eclipsing Azorius Omniscience. In terms of popularity, Is It Prowess, Dimir Midrange. Guess we got a little preview here that Is It Prowess is far and away the most popular according to MTG Goldfish. Although they have Azorius Omniscience number 2. And that would be best of 3 data on their side. Can you play best of 1 on MTG Online? I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, Selesnya Control. Let's see what's going on with that. Sounds kind of spicy. So this deck list has a 63.8% win rate, which is pretty fantastic. 1 Archangel Elspeth, 4 of the Storm Slayers. So maybe more of a tokens build. Looks like it's got Overlord of Hauntwoods, Overlord of Mistmoors, 2 Voice of Victory, 1 Day of Judgment, 2 Get Lost, 4 Ride's End. Of course, it has Up the Beanstalk and Caretaker's Talent. So, I don't know. Would you call that control? That looks almost mid-rangey to me, but I guess maybe you're finishing off with these Planeswalkers. What is the dividing line between mid-range and control? That's what I want to know. It's got some tap lands, Restless Prairie, Lush Portico. And Starting Town is going to really make for some interesting mana bases. If you haven't seen Starting Town, this is one of the cards I traded for here. It is a land town. Enters tapped unless it's your first, second, or third turn of the game. So like the 3 key turns. Taps for colorless, no problem. And then you can pay 1 life, tap, add 1 mana of any color. So I'm excited about that card. I don't know. Is that too powerful? Is that going to mess things up? Are we just going to get like 5-color soup decks for the rest of Standard as long as it's around? I don't know. Flipping over to Pioneer. Do we call it Pioneer on Arena? I guess we do. I call it non-Brewers Pioneer since it doesn't have the full Pioneer card pool. And in best of 3, Mono Red Aggro has pretty big lead here in terms of the win rate. Mono Black Midrange has a pretty big lead in terms of popularity, with Is It Phoenix following behind. Either Mono Black Midrange or Is It Phoenix are in the top 8 in terms of win rate. Don't see a chart there, so I'm not sure how much data we actually have. Might get a better sense of how things are going here. In best of 1, the win rate is near tie between Rakdos Aggro and Sultai Dredge. In terms of popularity, pretty close between Mono Red Aggro and Selesnya Angels. Is It Phoenix and Rakdos Aggro a distant tied for 3rd? Here's popularity over time. Looks like Mono Red Aggro kind of had a big surge here the end of the week and maybe kind of leveling off, similar to Selesnya Angels. Rakdos Aggro is falling. Azorius Control is falling. Was this Selesnya Aura is kind of holding steady. In terms of win rate, Rakdos Aggro has gone right up, and Mono Black Devotion is kind of going up over time. Or maybe it's just statistical noise. In terms of Alchemy, the best deck to play right now is Mono Red Aggro. Most popular is It Otters by way, way far. Is It Otters is number 2 in terms of win rate also, and not, only 2% behind Mono Red Aggro, so maybe not a bad choice to play if you're playing Alchemy. If you're playing Historic, number 1 in win rate and in popularity, Boros Auras. People in Historic know what's up. And in Timeless, Mardu Energy is the highest win rate, and 5-color Reanimator, the most popular. We're actually getting a little bit of data here this week, which is nice. So, yeah, keep those of you who play Timeless, make sure you have the Untapped installed and you're sharing your data so we can keep an eye on what's going on in the metagame. And then it still says Historic Brawl, but it's just Brawl. In terms of win rate, Ureni of the Unwritten. Yes, my weekly reminder. I have a deck list for this, even though I don't have a video for it that you can check out on my Mox field. And then Codus the Fan Keeper, I definitely have a video for. It's been one of the best performing videos I posted in a long time. Followed right behind by Ugin Eye of Storms. So both of those I have videos for, and both of those are still among the most popular. Although, if it feels like you're facing every other deck, here's a reminder. It's only 3.3% of the meta, and Ugin is only 2.4% of the meta. The Mythweaver Poke, which I face every time, is only 1.6% of the meta. So, like Elspeth Stormslayer at number 4, and it is on number 2 in terms of win rate. Mythweaver Poke, Roxanne, Rusko, Ugin Eye of Storms, Tiamat, interesting, and Ragavan. A lot of the usual suspects, but I think last week we did have a Johnny on here in terms of win rate, and a Johnny nowhere to be seen. Normally pretty, yeah, there's a Johnny. Huh. Like a Johnny is just not even being cracked. Yeah. If you add a Johnny's win rate in, how are they getting this win rate? Because look, it's showing a Johnny with a 70.2% win rate. Like far and above all these other things. Or anybody else? Are there any other ones that's just like are on the charts but not in the data? I don't know. Well, for whatever reason, they didn't put a. Maybe nobody's playing a Johnny today, and if they were, it would be way up here. Okay. So that's the untapped.gg data. Let's look at what we've got on MTG Goldfish. We saw Is It Prowess, Azorius Omniscience, Mono Red Aggro. In terms of recent winners, bunch of Is It Prowess, it looks like. A couple Azorius Omnisciences. Another Azorius Omniscience. Another Is It Prowess, followed by Azorius Omniscience combo in a standard challenge there. So I don't know. There's a Golgari mid-range deck that did 5-0. It's. I guess if you're calling for a ban with Corey Steel Cutter, you have to explain why some of these other decks are winning. Because it's certainly predominant, but is it dominating to the point where they need to ban something? I guess we'll see once Final Fantasy releases. If that comes up. I'm not sure exactly when the next banning is, but it's scheduled. It's on the calendar. You can look it up. For their Pioneer, they have Mono Red Aggro, Is It Phoenix, Mono Black Midrange as the top 3 in the meta, followed by Selesnya Angels. It looks like Hidden Strings has put up some results lately. A Metalwork Colossus deck got 4th in a Pioneer Challenge. So there could be some spicy brews here that might be okay in the metagame that aren't being played by a lot of people. For whatever reason, that Metalwork Colossus one jumped out at me, but here's also Azorius Flash. There's some other ones you don't normally see. That's kind of fun. We've got some fun deck lists coming up. We'll just check out Pauper real quick. Burn, Madness, Burn. What's the difference between these two? Alms of the Vein versus Kessig Flame Breather. Blue Terror, Jund Wildfire, Grixis Affinity. So Grix is kind of taking over the Pauper metagame, it looks like. Had been very had been, you know, I guess, what is it, 9.7, 9.5, 8.8, 8.7, 8.2. So yeah, it's a, I guess, pretty varied metagame. I would say there might be a couple cards. I haven't, you know, studied it, but there was this let me see if I can find it. Version of Colossal Dreadmaw. Power Creep Colossal Dreadmaw, Balaam T-Rex Hour. 4 green, creature dinosaur, 6/6 trample. When it enters, you gain 3 life and forest cycling for 2. So that was pretty awesome, at least in limited. I'm wondering if that will make any impact in Pauper, or is Pauper just too, you know, really kind of like Legacy? It's got a lot of cheap, effective spells. Speaking of Legacy, let's look at the metagame for that. Looks like Dimir Reanimator is far and away the most popular in the metagame there. In Vintage, we've got Luris PO, which is, I believe, always on top every time I check this. Penny Dreadful, Forest Legends Aggro, Azorius Control, Dual Commander, Aragorn, and Brews Tarl. Lage. See what they say for Commander just for fun. Odric Master Tactician. I don't know how they do this. We need to, maybe I need to get like a CEDH. You know, VV, I know people are building a lot of VV decks. I'm planning to do a VV Brawl video pretty early on when everything comes out. So there's that. Okay, so let's talk about Final Fantasy. If you're not following me on Blue Sky, jump on there, follow manadad.bisky.social. So Yeoman 5 normally puts out on TCG, but due to the union, due to TCG and eBay being mean to the union, Yeoman just posted it on Blue Sky, and tremendous lot of work in these deck lists here. Here's the Mono Black Demons deck. Real surprise encounter. The first one I wanted to look at here is deck number 3. Quina Cage. I did play some of the Final Fantasy games, like the inside of the deck box with all the like pixel, like 16-bit pixel art. That's like more my era of Final Fantasy. I didn't recognize much beyond Moogles and Chocobo. I didn't recognize very many things in the set, I have to be honest. I did take a friend who knew Final Fantasy, and he, I think, played most of the games, and even he was sort of like baffled by some of the stuff that was in there. So I don't know. Was it the right choice to kind of just pick and choose from every game, or should they have, like, you know, narrowed down on stuff a little more? Because I don't have it out here, but like there's like, you know, there's a bunch of people riding in a car, and my friend's like, oh yeah, Final Fantasy 15 or whatever. It's about a bunch of people riding in a car. I'm like, okay. Somehow that's existing with like cactus people fighting people with the cowboy hats. Maybe I wear this for my Jumbo Cactuar video. Yeah, so was Final Fantasy, was it the original Fortnite where just everybody's wearing a different hat? Which is what Magic has become in the year of our Lord 2025. I don't know. All right, but we're talking about this deck. I got sidetracked. Quina Gourmet, that's how I'm going to choose to pronounce it, is a coup, legendary creature. If one or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus a 1/1 green frog creature token are created instead. and you can sack a frog to plus Quina up, which makes Quina a natural fit into the Collector's Cage shell that we already have. So Yeoman has 4 Collector's Cage, 4 Sheltered by Ghosts, Llanowar Elves, the Paw Patch Recruit, which is also 1 card that makes 2 bodies when you pay the Offspring cost. Voice of Victory, which can make extra bodies. Sandstorm Salvager makes extra bodies. Toby makes extra bodies. And I guess what's nice is this is a 2-power. So you got a lot of 1 powers and 3 powers. And then the 2 powers. So if you can get a 1, a 2, and a 3, right, with the Collector's Cage, then you can play stuff without paying their mana cost. And I guess what you want to play is either Elspeth Stormslayer or Overlord of the Mistmoors. Not really trying to cheat out anything that big, considering you can play this for 4 mana anyway. And this is only 5 mana. And then just 24 lands. So that's the Quina version. I've been really interested in the green-black Beans decks. Especially as like a budget sort of archetype. And this card, Diamond Weapon, which was absolutely baller in limited, in the sealed, in the pre-releases, is 8/8, costs 1 less to cast for each permanent card in your graveyard, has reach, and it's immune to all combat damage. So it's just a straight 8/8 brawler. I don't think there's any way to give it trample, but there is this Carsey Revenant, which you could put a lifelink, Death Touch, or Flying counter on it. And who needs a cactus when you're hitting for 9 lifelink and you're immune to any damage? Hollow Marauders are great in this archetype. Couple Chitin Gravestalkers, Overlord of the Baelmerk to fill up your graveyard. And then this new card, Town Greeter. Here's a popper card, potentially. 1/1 enters mills 4. You can put a land from among them, and if it's a town, you gain 2 life. Souls of the Lost, interested in playing 4 of those. Double Belt Maverick and Molt Tender. And then the removal spell that works really nicely with that Overwhelming Remorse. All of these comboing with Up the Beanstalk. And I do already have a Golgari budget. It's budget in the sense of it's cheap to build on Arena. Although Up the Beanstalk, look at that. You can get a playset of those for $5.44. So that's reasonable. This is where it gets unreasonable, is the Overlords of the Baelmerk. But, you know, that's not actually that essential to the deck. I'm sure you could just, now with the Town Greeter and stuff, you could fill up the graveyard for a lot less. And, of course, you can run a budget mana base in a deck like this. So, that is Golgari Beanyard. Also, there's an equipment theme in the new Final Fantasy set. So I was kind of curious to see what an equipment deck would look like using these cards. So, Yeoman put one together. We got Freya Crescent. Is a 1/1, has flying during your turn, and can tap to add red to cast equipment. We've got Zac Fair, which enters with a +1/+1 counter, and you can sacrifice it to give a creature indestructible until end of turn. And then you put Zac Fair's counters on that creature and attach equipment that was attached to Zac Fair to that creature. So, kind of interesting. That's a knight. That's a soldier. I think what we care about is warriors for Pioneer and such. Adelbert Steiner. I had this card in my pool. It played very nicely. Just a 2/1 lifelink that gets bigger and bigger for each equipment. Cloud Midgar Mercenary. The 2/1 enters, search your library for an equipment, put it in your hand, and then when it's equipped, if an ability of Cloud or an equipment attached to it triggers, that ability triggers an additional 9. No way to trigger its enter the battlefield ability an additional time, is there? Raubon, Bull of Alamigo. Ward pay life equal to its power. Whenever it attacks, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to target attacking creature. It can be any creature. And this is a warrior. So, yeah, this is great. I like that. We've got Nahiri Forged in Fury. She's been biding her time here in Standard for an equipment deck to come out. She's got an affinity for equipment. And then it looks like, because I guess you can search up equipment, there's a lot of one-of fun-ofs here. We got the Ether Spark, which is an equipment planeswalker. Basilisk Collar is in Standard right now, reprinted in Foundations. Coral Sword is a new one. 1 mana, 1 to equip, +1/+0. When it enters, it auto-equips and gives first strike. There's one of fun of those. Lava Spur Boots, +1/+0, haste ward 1 for equips for 1. Chainsaw of the famous Chainsaw Massacre. Corey Steel Cutter, 4 of those, okay, because why not? Equipment. Bladehold War Whip has 4 Mirrodin, so there's also a new job select. Yeah, we're going to get to job select. But yeah, the equipment that comes with the creature is pretty nice. Celestial Armor is another Foundations one. 3 mana, gives +2/+0 on flying. And it attaches and gives hexproof and indestructible. And then Samurai's Katana. This is 3 mana. I don't know if you play 4 of these in this deck. I'm immediately suspicious about this. This makes a 3/3 with trample and haste. You know, immediately upon entry. Then it's 5 to equip. It is a creature, but I think I would, if there is one, I would play some cheaper creatures, especially with Corey Steel Cutter and trying to double spell. And then 4 Leyline X and 3 Rebel Salvo, which is the removal that has affinity for equipment. 21 lands, including Starting Town. There we go. Got the Starting Town. Good for aggro decks, I guess. Here's another one. We're not going to look at all 50, just if you're worried. I got 2 more after this one, including the Cactuar deck. Bant Birds. There's a lot of birds and cards that care about birds coming in with Final Fantasy. So we got 4 Llanowar Elves, 4 Mockingbird, the bird that's already in Standard. Saz's Chocobo. This was pretty good in pre-release. Just an 0/1 that whenever you landfall, it's getting +1/+1. Just 1 mana that just builds as a threat over the course of the game. We got a 2/2 flash here with Ambrosia Whiteheart. You can bounce a permanent to its owner's hand, which I think you're supposed to use on your own land, so you can landfall again. Bloomcreed Mentor is from what is this called? Bloom Barrow. Whenever it or another creature you control with flying enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control without flying. Okay. So I guess that's probably the only flying creature in the birds deck. Not a lot of flying birds. No, Mockingbird flies. Traveling Chocobo, 3/2. Look at the top card of your library anytime. Play lands and cast bird spells from the top of your library. And if a land or bird you control entering the battlefield causes a trigger ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers at initial time. I guess hence the 3 or 4 Bloomcreed Mentors. Again, 3 drops. I don't know. Can you play 3 drops in Standard? You can certainly play 4 drops. And have Choco's Seeker of Paradise at the top of your curve. Whenever 1 or more birds you control attack, look at that many cards from the top of your library. You may put 1 of them into your hand, then put any number of land cards from among them onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest into your graveyard. Pretty awesome if you can do it. Obviously, you can trigger it the turn it comes down as long as you have a bird you can attack with. And then way at the top of the curve, Bart's and Boko, although it does have affinity for boys. Burbs. When Bart's and Boko enters, each other bird you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. So a little bit of removal there. Side quest raise a Chocobo, which is makes a 2/2 token, and then can flip if you have 4 more birds. Wonder how often that will happen in this deck. In a Standard with lots of bird wipes, I almost said. With lots of board wipes. Interesting. All right, so here's Pioneer Hammer. So here's an equipment deck in Pioneer. We got Fervent Champion, Freya Crescent, Four Clouds, Kembaka, Kellen, Hammer, Colossus Hammer, Dragonfire Blade. Interesting. That's a pretty new one. That what the hammer decks are running now? 2 Shadow Spears is legendary. 4 Leyline Axe. 4 Sigard is aid. Help here, still in uniform. Huh. I see. Because you can use this to attach an equipment. When you lose control of that equipment this turn, if it's attached to a creature you control, unattach it. But if you attach your own equipment with it, it's fine, right? That's interesting. I hadn't considered using this on your own equipment. It's limited. You're just always using it to steal your opponent's equipment. But interesting. Okay, and then 20 lands, including 4 starting towns. See if there's been any comments on any of this. Nope, but we got 15 people watching me wear a cowboy hat, so I got that. Oh, 17 people watching me wear a cowboy hat. Great. Yes, great. Well, thanks for joining. In time to see the Jumbo Cactuar deck. This is Yeoman's stab at it, and I should go back to what Yeoman says about this. Where is it? Pass it. Look, okay. The question on as I look for this, the question at hand is whether Mr. Jumbo Cactuar, my big pull from my pre-release, is in fact any good. And let's see. Here it is. Red Green Cactuar, deck number 23. If you're playing along at home, Yeoman says, this is not a good deck. That's not the point. This is a Jumbo Cactuar deck. Hit them for 1,000 plus. Well, you missed a 0 on that. The ability is called 10,000 Needles. And the Jumbo Cactuar gets 10,000 power when it attacks. So the question is, do you do Fling? Do you do Trample? Let's see what Yeoman has cooked up. Obviously, Llanowar Elves. We're going to have to do a lot to accelerate here. When this enters the battlefield, another target creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains haste. So you could plot this and give the Cactuar haste. Fierce Empath to search up the Cactuar. Surak, if the beginning of combat creatures you control have total power 8 or greater, target creature you control gains haste. The Cactuar doesn't get the trigger until it attacks, though. Yeah. So I don't know how Surak would work. Maybe. There's Calamity. This is a little better, right? You saddle it, you choose a non-legendary creature, and put it into play tapped and attacking. Or put a token that's tapped and attacking. There's that, and then you just try to Monstrous Rage on it. Also, Smuggler's Surprise, which can let you smuggle in the cactus. There's Ruckus, which can give it Menace and Trample. That's a pretty good combo. So yeah, I don't know. That seems janky. Like. What do you all think? Can you actually pull off this combo with this deck, or do you have a better idea of how you would build this deck? Because spoiler alert, I really want to build a cactus deck, a Jumbo Cactuar deck, this week. So give me your best ideas for how to make this work. How can we one-shot people with the Cactuar? I want to see the arena life total go negative 10,000. So it would be a negative 9,980. Yeah, if you've got a good idea on how to do that, let me know. There is a new equipment. I got 2 of them. I should note. That's the kind of like the standard 4-mana rare that puts something into play. It is Summoner's Grimoire. Now, if you want to put it into play tapped and attacking, the Cactuar would have to be an enchantment creature somehow. Not sure if there's any card that makes it an enchantment creature in your hand. But this is just a 1/1, but you attack with it, you get to put something from your hand into play. And then the equipment sticks around. You can pay 3, move it to something else, and do the trick again. So, you know, maybe you just use the empaths, get a bunch of Cactuar, equip this to the Cactuar, and then they can chump block it all day long with their 1/1 tokens, but you just keep putting in more Cactuar until eventually you win. It doesn't seem that great either. I don't know. All right. Well, that is everything. I'll go back to the standard best of 1. So if you joined a little late, you can take a look at that. You don't have to rewind back. Let's see if anybody had any questions or comments or concerns. Nothing to say. Okay, I nailed it. All right. Well, thanks for joining me here in the attic. I've been Manadad, reminding you Magic is a game so fun, even dads wearing stupid cowboy hats can enjoy it. Adios.